So this is my spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine, where I'm discussing the cameos. I'm not gonna get into the story much, but I'll discuss the cameos in it because the cameos, the press are talking about all the cameos, and that's why I had to see it during the Friday matinee because Thursday night I was on X and I was just scrolling along and I saw an actor's name on there, and I said, "Oh, what's he up to?" And I clicked on it, and they said he was in Deadpool and Wolverine. I said, "You bastards! You couldn't wait! Oh, I gotta see this film fast." So I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine at the matinee, and I made a whole video about how much the ticket prices were for a matinee, which is crazy. So the first cameo, before we get into the first cameo, the one of the scenes that was really cool is when they went to the multiverse Wolverines, and you had the short Wolverine. So when Hugh Jackman was first cast as Wolverine, like he said, people didn't know who he was. He was an Aussie actor. He was unknown here. Plus, Hugh Jackman is like 6'2", 6'3". He's a tall dude. I mean, I saw him with Kelly and Mark, and it's like he towered over them. I was like, oh man, you kind of forget that Hugh Jackman's a really tall dude. And when you had the little short Wolverine, it's like, well, yeah, that's how Wolverine in the comics is a short guy. So when people were complaining about Henry Cavill Hugh Jackman was going to be too tall to play Wolverine. I was like, yeah, that's probably right because Wolverine's a short guy. But as soon as he popped up on the screen in the first X-Men movie with the whole attitude and the look, I was like, no, that dude's Wolverine. And he's been that dude Wolverine for like 24 years. And I feel bad for anybody who's coming after him because it's just, how can you top Hugh Jackman as Wolverine after 24 years? That's hard, whoever takes over that role. However, the one guy that could take over that role was one of the multiverse Wolverines, Henry Cavill. Because Deadpool said, "Oh, I always enjoyed the Calverine." Because I was looking at him, and I was like, "That's not Hugh. He looks so familiar." And then when you say Calverine, it's like, "Oh, it's Henry Cavill. It's the Man of Steel." He would be great as a Wolverine. Now, at this point of his career, he's slightly older. He's not too much. He's not really old, but to do a commitment, a 3 to 5 for a film commitment to doing Wolverine, I don't think that's going to happen. But I would love to see Henry Cavill play Wolverine in a one-off Wolverine movie or a Logan movie or even a limited TV Marvel series on Disney. It'd be very cool to see that universe Wolverine on a one-off. And Kevin Feige, if somehow, some way you can make that happen, let's do it. Because I think Jackman would do it as a one-off. And it would be nice to see someone different other than Hugh Jackman to play that character. And like I said, I don't think Cavill will play him long-term just because of the age factor. But man, a one-off Henry Cavill Wolverine movie or TV show would be great. So then we get to the next cameo. Because I'm not going to talk about all the cameos, just a few. They were in the zone. Deadpool and Wolverine were in the zone, and they see a guy up above. And the way Deadpool was talking, you thought that maybe it was Robert Downey Jr. Because you saw how great this guy is and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, I don't think it's Robert, but it'd be great if it's Robert. And the guy comes down, and he was still wrapped up, and then he took the mask off. The covering off. And it was Cap. It was Captain America. Chris Evans. Like, oh, how'd he get in it? And Chris Evans said, he said I would do anything for Ryan Reynolds. Like, he just knows how to write. He understands the character. So yeah, it's fantastic. So, but when he was on the screen, it's like he seems a little bit different than Captain America. He seems like more of a bitter Captain America. He didn't seem like the good old Cap that we know. And then when all the villains came, it's like, oh, okay, what's about to happen? And you didn't see the shield, which was an eye, but it's okay. And then he said, flame on. Flame on! It's like, oh no! He's the human torch! He's Johnny Storm! Now, let the record show that I actually like the cast of the Fantastic Four, the original Fantastic Four cast. I liked it with Jessica Alba. I liked them. It was just a bad movie. But I liked everybody, but I wasn't a big Chris Evans fan. And those Fantastic Four movies weren't that great. And I was shocked when they made him Captain America. I was like, he wasn't that great as Johnny Storm. Like, why would you make him Steve Rogers? Like, I did not understand that casting. I didn't even see the first Captain America film. But I did see, for some reason, I did decide to see Captain America Winter Soldier. And that film is fantastic because they realized Chris Evans, at that time, wasn't Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. can carry any film if he's doing that snappy Robert Downey Jr. stuff, because you're drawn to Robert. Chris Evans wasn't that guy at that time. And they did the right thing with Captain America: Winter Soldier, where they had Sam Jackson there. They had they had the Winter Soldier. You had all these. They had Anthony Mackie. You had all these really talented actors around Chris Evans, so Chris Evans wouldn't have to carry that film. And it's probably my second favorite comic movie of all time. And they did the same thing with Civil Wars and the Avengers film. And I think the Russo brothers, combination of the Russo brothers with the direction and surrounding Chris Evans around these really talented actors, he actually became a better actor, I think. And so when you see The Gray Man with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans is really good in that film. Like, Chris Evans is really good playing a villain. So when you see him say "Flame on" and he's the Human Torch, it's like, oh ho ho ho. And that's another thing. Like, I know they're rebooting the Fantastic Four, but it would be interesting if they brought back the original cast again for a one-off, almost to right the ship, almost to say, yeah, we didn't have the right director and we didn't have the right, even though I think Tim Story did that. And Tim Story's a really talented guy, but I think Marvel wasn't where Marvel was supposed to be at that point, and it just, something was just missing in that film. But it'd be interesting to get the original cast together and do a one-off to have an older version of Fantastic Four. They're not going to do that, but I think acting-wise, I think they're all probably stronger actors at this point, so it'd be interesting to see how an older Fantastic Four cast would be. But I don't think they're going to do that. But yeah, Chris Evans was great. Such a surprise. I didn't expect that to happen. So now I'll get back to who I saw on X. When I said before, there was a name trending, and that name was Wesley Snipes. And I'm a Wesley fan. I've been a Wesley fan. It's New Jack City, Jungle Fever. Like, I've been the Bad Video with Michael Jackson, when I didn't know who that guy was, but he was like a tough dude. Sugar Hill. I love Wesley Snipes. Passion 57. Oh, Wesley Snipes is the best. And then he did Blade. And I was like, Wesley's so cool. Like, of all the actors that's come through, like, Denzel's untouchable. But the only black actor that came through during his reign, that came close to meeting his celebrity, his popularity, is probably Wesley Snipes. Like, Idris Elba is cool, but Wesley Snipes was like his one true rival ever. Acting wise, it's probably Chadwick Boseman, because Chadwick had the chops, but unfortunately he passed away. So when I saw that Wesley Snipes was in Deadpool, I was like, whoa, well, this is interesting. And he's older now, like Wesley's 61. When you see him in the film, he's an older Wesley. He's a little bit thinner. And Wesley said that Ryan Reynolds called him out of the blue. And he said, because I think he said he had talked to Marvel before about Blade and nothing ever happened, which is unfortunate. And Ryan said, hey, I got an idea. Would you be interested? And Wesley was like, yeah, I'm down with it, because they were in Blade 3 together. And I think, like, Ryan, I think this is Ryan's penance for Blade 3, because Blade 1 and 2 were really good. And the studio decided to add Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel in Blade 3, and Wesley was not having it, because Wesley probably felt like, I don't need them. I'm good as is. And Blade 3 was not that good. And maybe this is Ryan's way of apologizing for Wesley. But Wesley said he had to get himself in Blade condition, because, again, when you talk about Passion 57 and Blade, like, Wesley was in top condition, and that's like 20 years. That's like over 25 years ago now. So, that's like he was in his 40s or something like that. So, he was really that dude, but he's older. So he said he had to work out. He had to get in Blade condition, and he had to get the suit that he wore. I think he said it's there was enough foam on the suit that made him look a little bit more muscular than probably what he was. But he said he didn't have to do as much action that he thought he would be. But I would be interested in seeing Wesley as Blade. Here's the thing. Like, this Blade, the reboot of Blade was supposed to be with Mahershala Ali, and that's been in development hell forever. And I never understood why they just wouldn't bring Wesley back almost as a mentor to Mahershala Ali, that he could be the new Blade. Like, why can't Wesley Snipes be the Chris Christopherson character was to him in the Blade movies? Why can't he be his mentor? Or like a Yoda to Luke Skywalker type situation. Like, because if you're a Blade fan, you want to see Wesley Snipes in it, but that he's older, he's not going to be the same guy. So of course he's going to pass the torch. So if that torch is to Mahershala Ali, why not have Wesley there as the older Blade, being there for the younger Blade? Why can't you have that? Kevin Feige, if you hear this, please give me an associate producer's credit, because I think that idea would work, and I would love to see Wesley in that. So when I saw Wesley as Blade, he came in second. It was a female actress that popped up first. So because I saw that thing on X about Wesley Snipes, I figured, okay, maybe Ryan Reynolds is acknowledging that Blade 3 was bad, and maybe he'll bring back the cast. So that means that Jessica Biel will pop up. So I was looking at the woman who first walked in. I was like, that's not Jessica Biel. Who is that? Like, she looks a little bit older. It's not Jessica Biel. She's got a nice body. Oh, it's Jennifer Garner as Elektra. And I love Jennifer Garner. I love Jennifer Garner as Alias. She was great as Alias. It's Sydney Bristow. Love that character. Love that show. With a young Bradley Cooper. That's the newspaper guy. It's her friend. And then, she was in Daredevil with Ben Affleck, and that film wasn't really that great. And then she had her own Elektra film that really wasn't that great. I think as much as I love Jennifer Garner, I love Jennifer Garner, but I think she was totally miscast as Elektra. Even though as Sydney Bristow in Alias, she did some sexy things in that role. Elektra in the comic books was very exotic looking, and she was very sexy and very alluring. The actress who plays the cleaning lady on the Fox show, she on the Daredevil series on Netflix in season 2, she was Elektra. She was sexy, she was flirty, she was exotic looking. She was Elektra to the T. If you're that, she was the perfect Elektra, and I almost feel like Marvel should go back to her and make a really good Elektra movie with her. But it's just so weird. It seems like all the success they had, Netflix had with the Marvel TV shows. It seems like Marvel just don't even want to touch any of that. It's almost like they don't want to. I mean, they're doing the Daredevil reboot, which is great, but it seems like they just don't want to touch all that property, which is crazy because that stuff outside the Defenders was really good. No, not the Defenders. Iron Fist. Iron Fist wasn't that great. Luke Cage was great. Jessica Jones was great. Punisher was great. Daredevil was the top of the top. Iron Fist and the Defenders was okay. But yeah, like I would love to see a reboot of Elektra with that actress in it from the Daredevil series. But Jennifer Garner, I love Jennifer Garner, and it would be nice for her to do another spy type thing again. Like, it would be interesting to see like a female spy. Let's see like an updated version of Alias, but she's an older spy. Because I don't think we see that too often. Like, we see that sometimes with male spy movies, but it'd be interesting to see how an older female spy, because she still looks good. It'd be interesting to see an updated Alias. But I don't know if Jennifer Garner is interested in acting as much anymore. She got her farm company. I think it was Once Upon a Farm, I think. And she's doing really well in that, and I think she's happy. Like, she probably makes a whole lot of money. It's kind of like Rihanna with Fenty. Like, Jennifer Garner's probably making so much money in business that if she decides to do something acting-wise, she's doing it because she wants to do it. She's not doing it because she has to. And it's funny because now she makes Daredevil says something to her about. Deadpool says something to Elektra about Daredevil, and Garner says a line in it, and the media's like, "Oh, she made a dig at Ben Affleck." It's like, no. She might have, but I think she's making a dig at the character. Like Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, I think actually do get along. I mean, their marriage crashed and burned, but I think as co-parents and things like that, I think they actually have a decent relationship as an ex-husband and ex-wife. I think he probably got a better relationship with her than he probably does with Jennifer Lopez at this point. So I don't know if she's taking a dig at Ben Affleck. Maybe she is. But I don't think she hates Ben as much as the media thinks she has. Which brings us to Gambit, Channing Tatum. Now, I don't even know what happened to the Gambit film. Gambit is an X-Men character. Channing Tatum was all over it. Like, he wanted to play Gambit. He desperately wanted to play Gambit. And somehow, some way, it crashed and burned, and it didn't, and nothing happened. And again, Kevin Feige, I think they should revisit that. Again, maybe a Gambit series, maybe bring his character Gambit into the next X-Men movie, because Channing Tatum is getting older, but he's not that old, and Tatum's at a curious point in his career right now, because if we go back 10 years ago, he had Magic Mike, he had Magic Mike 2, he had 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, I think that movie Dear John. Like, Channing Tatum, man, he was just on fire, and he took a little break, and he hasn't hit. Like, the last Magic Mike movie didn't do that well. This movie, Scarlett Johansson, hasn't done that well. He has his upcoming movie with Zoe Kravitz, his fiancée, soon. So we'll see how that goes. But Channing needs a hit. And I think him doing Gambit, I think he probably still would like to do it. And I think he's still young enough he can pull it off. Will they do it? I don't know. Is Gambit a strong enough character to have a solo movie? I don't know. But But should Gambit be in one of the upcoming X-Men films? I think so. I think you should give it a shot. Now, in the film, he has this crazy, almost Narland type of French accent that you could barely understand. So I'm sure he wouldn't be using that accent. But I think Channing Tatum and Gambit should be revisited. It can't hurt. You know, Marvel needs some hits, or at least some attempt at hits. So yeah, give Channing a shot. And I think the last cameo I want to talk about is Dafne Keen, who was the girl and who's the little girl in Logan, and now Laura, and now she's like 19 years old or something like that now. And it's interesting. This is where Ryan Gosling, I think, should be considered for an Oscar for writing, but because he took characters from that Logan film and brought them back. They brought her back as a teen. Like, I don't even know where that idea even came from. And it's so great because this character saw Logan, as a little girl, she saw Logan die. And now she's meeting this multiverse Logan. And at times, she's almost talking to him like she's thanking him for what he did for her, even though that Logan's dead. But she's also inspiring this Logan for the hero that the older Logan was. It's very touching. And I don't know how that idea came to play. You know, I'm gonna have to search for an article on that. But it was like, because at first it was like, she looks familiar, but I wasn't sure, because that was like, I don't know, 2017 when that movie came out, 2016, 17. So it's been a lot of years. So, you know, but it's a beautiful thing. And in fact, I saw for the premiere of Logan and Deadpool and Deadpool and Wolverine, she was at the premiere. And I didn't think anything of it. I just like, oh, okay, she's supporting Hugh. I mean, that's fantastic. Not knowing that she would be actually in the movie. So that was a welcome surprise. So I'm also curious to know what other cameos that Ryan Reynolds wanted to do that he couldn't pull off. Like, was Elektra, Blade, and Gambit, was those the three characters that he wanted to bring back? Was there two more that he wanted? Was there another one he wanted to bring back? Was there another three that he wanted to bring back? So, because I'm sure he started off high. It's like, why don't we have Iron Man? I don't know, Hulk and somebody else. Like, Thor. Yeah, because they kept on bringing back Thor too. Like, Thor's name kept on coming up. That was the thing that was kind of, there wasn't a solution. If there was one thing that wasn't resolved, was the Thor storyline. Because he said, "Why am I crying?" And Hemsworth is there as Thor, and it's like we didn't get a conclusion to that. In fact, I wish that was actually, the post credit was cool. Dealing with Johnny Storm, talking about Professor X's sister. That was cool. The first post credit was better, but I wish there was another one that kind of dealt with the Thor one. Now, unless there's another Deadpool coming, and Ryan Reynolds said that that's not going to happen because he said his wife and kids would kill him if he did, man, that's one storyline I wish that was tied up. Oh, yeah, and finally, Lady Deadpool. Wasn't in it a lot, and when I look at the credits, it was Blake Lively. And I'm tempted. I am a single man these days, and I think I will buy a Lady Deadpool outfit and bring it on dates and say, "Hey, do you know who this is?" And he's like, if she said, "That's Lady Deadpool," and it's like, "I'm going to marry you." And he's like, "No, but I'll try it on. I think I'll marry you." And she's like, "Ooh, what's that?" Check, please. Because it's going to make me sound like I'm crazy. But yeah, man. I don't know that outfit. I don't know if that was all Blake Lively. I don't know if that was foam suited Blake Lively, but that outfit looked good. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds, man, for marrying Blake Lively. He got a nice chick, and a funny chick, and a caring chick, which is a beautiful thing. So that is my spoiler cameo review of Deadpool. What do you guys think? What are your favorite parts of the film? What cameos do you think could have been in there? And overall, like, do you think there should be a Deadpool 4? Even though I don't think it is. Because it's almost like, how can you top that? How can you possibly top Deadpool 3? Deadpool and Wolverine? Like, how can you do it? The only thing I can possibly think of if there's like a massive thing where it deals with the fourth thing. But I think or if they do bring Lady Deadpool back, some of those other Deadpools they had, they bring back a Lady Deadpool, and you have this whole storyline going there, which might be interesting with him and his girlfriend back on Earth. Earth, what was it, that 1001, something like that. So that would be interesting. But what I think is going to happen is I think Ryan Reynolds is probably done playing Deadpool, because just like what Hugh Jackman was saying, like over the years it was getting harder and harder to train for Wolverine, because it's just so much physical commitment to the character. I think Ryan Reynolds is the same way with Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds is like 47 years old, so I don't know if he's almost willing to put in that type of work. And again, he's in so many different things business wise. He really doesn't need the acting money as much anymore as he used to. He probably made pretty good money off those Deadpool movies. So he got the soccer team, he got Mints. Like he got so many irons in the fire where they have so many different streams of income coming in. He doesn't need to play Deadpool all the time. But I don't think it's the last time we see Deadpool. Like I hope Kevin Feige can convince him, just like he did with Robert. Like when Robert Downey Jr. would pop up in the Spider-Man movie. Like I would like to see him, like you see Mark Ruffalo pop up in Thor. Like I'm hopeful that sometimes Ryan would just pop up as Deadpool in different movies. Maybe not a lot, because maybe Ryan doesn't want to do that a lot, but it would be nice to see him pop up maybe in an Avengers or in an X-Men or something like that, just to keep the character going, and he doesn't have to carry the film. So what do you think about Deadpool and Wolverine? I hope people like this non-spoiler review. I didn't go into the actual story of it, so even though I revealed the cameos, you still don't know the story of it. So I kind of was like a non-spoiler with parentheses review. So tell me what you think.